Are you feeling overwhelmed just thinking about decluttering your home? Whether you're planning to sell or simply want to simplify your life, today's video is for you. I'll share stress-free strategies to help you declutter without losing your mind. Let's dive right in. Decluttering isn't just about making your home look pretty. It helps potential buyers to see the space clearly and imagine themselves living there. Homes that are neat and organized sell faster and for more money. Plus, a clutter-free environment can make moving day so much easier on you. Tip number 1, start small and avoid overwhelm. Pick one drawer, one shelf, or even one corner of a room and start. Set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes and focus on that area only. You'll build momentum without getting overwhelmed. And remember, it's progress, not perfection. Tip number 2, use the 3-box method. As you declutter, place items into one of 3 categories: keep, donate, or trash. Be honest with yourself about what you truly need and use. This method works well, but I have a husband that has sentimental ties to a lot of family stuff. We were a multi-generational family for many years, and our home was a family home for 73 years and 4 generations. Our family was the only family that had ever lived in that home. I packed a lot more than I wanted to take to the new house because it meant something to him. We are slowly going through it all, but if you can help it, I don't suggest paying movers to move stuff that you should purge. If it had been just me, I would have been much more brutally honest about getting rid of things, but it was important to him, so it was important to me. Set a deadline for donating the items so you don't let them linger in the garage and the basement. Tip number 3, digitize what you can. Scan important documents like closing documents and save them to the cloud. This reduces paper clutter and makes important files easy to access. The same goes with photos. Create digital albums to preserve memories while saving space. I do suggest that you let everyone in the household have a box. It should fit on a shelf in the closet, but they should be able to keep things that they just can't part with. Maybe there's photos that they don't want just digitized. Maybe they want an actual photo. Maybe it is something special their mother gave them or they gave to their mother. Everybody deserves a box of things to go through on a bad day when they really need to go through it. Number 4, sentimental items can be tough. So ask yourself, does this bring me joy or am I keeping it out of guilt? If the memory attached to it is not a good memory, let it go. I believe as we head into this new season of life, joy and the people and things that give us joy are the most important things. It is good to remember that while we're packing. You can also take photos of items you love but don't have the space for. If you right size a smaller space, think about the size and layout of the new space to guide what you keep. If there's no 3rd bedroom, don't bring the 3rd bedroom furniture, even if it belonged to Aunt Martha. Ask your loved ones if they want it, but don't be hurt if they don't. Chances are they're not going to want your stuff any more than you wanted the stuff in your parents' home. And they will thank you when the time comes and you have taken care of all the stuff. Tip number 5, don't be afraid to find help. Professional organizers are wonderful, but even a friend or family member can provide support and perspective that you need. I remember as we were packing, my sister was saying, "Do you really need 3 of these?" There was a time when I did need 3 of those, but I didn't anymore. And it was good to remember that. Remember, decluttering is a journey. Celebrate each small win along the way. If you think you need help, I have a decluttering and simplifying guide that I'd be glad to send to you, and the link is in the description. These are not just ideas that I got from a book. Well, actually they are, but I did follow these tips 3 years ago when we moved from that home that we'd had in the family since 1948. My husband was born there in 1958, and there were 4 generations of a lot of stuff that no one wanted and no one took with them. The decision to move took time, and figuring out the logistics took more time. This video is to help you to get it done faster and easier than I did. This was not a one-day project, and it wasn't even a 1-week project. I started 5 months in advance, and my goal was to get the house sold, but the timeline was fluid. It was also about finding another home that fit our new season of life. Since my decluttering was part of a move, this was the process that I used. I started with the least used or smallest room in the house, which happened to be a spare bedroom. Not only was this a good choice, but it was probably less stuff to pack, but it was helpful for me to avoid overwhelm at the beginning. As the process moved along, I took the bed down and used this room as a storage area for several other rooms to get some of the boxes out of the way. I set packing supplies up, boxes, tape, markers, labels, and I got the labels on Amazon, and I ordered 2 sets of labels, and I still use them to label plastic totes in the garage. And I numbered the boxes as I went, and I used a dresser or small table in every room. I set up a code and printed them on spreadsheets. So SB1 was small bedroom or spare bedroom 1. And then number 1 was the first box in that room. On the first line, I put the number of the box and briefly what went in the box. These labels were nice enough to have a cute little note area on them. I didn't do it for all the boxes, but if it was something I thought I might need to find quickly after the move, it was really helpful. I started on one side of the room and I worked all the way around. I left the spreadsheet in the room until moving day to add things to it. I had a 1/2-inch 3-ring binder and all the sheets went into that. I gathered them all up and put them in the binder prior to the movers arriving. I suggest that you pack a suitcase and a week's worth at least of clothes, toiletries, a med box, some food, things like that, and any important papers that you think you're going to need in the next few months, especially if it's tax season or something like that. Documents from the closing packet, like the property transfer affidavit and the homestead exemption form, are 2 things that you really need to keep. I tell clients all the time that municipalities are notorious for misplacing papers. You may need to prove that you did it, so a copy of the time-stamped and dated document is what you're going to need with the city. If you know it's on your computer, it's easy to just print it up and take it in. I did a recent video about Michigan property taxes, and these 2 items were mentioned. If you'd like to take a look at that video, it might be really helpful. These documents need to be turned into the city within 45 days of closing, and the city starts charging you $5 a day past that 45 days, and it does add up quick. So ask me how I know this fun fact. So back to the move. The movers told me that everything needed to be in a box, so no dresser drawers that were left full or anything like that. Odd-shaped items still needed to be in boxes, but the boxes may need to be built around the item. My movers were nice enough to do that for me. Check with your movers and see what they will and won't allow, and check and see what the added expense is for doing it. My moving company said that cleaning supplies, lamps, lampshades, highly breakable items like crystal and mirrors, china, and food all needed to be moved by somebody else, so we had to move those separately. I had 2 sisters helping me. One was at each house, and I ran back and forth all day. I walked through in the morning with the movers at the old house, and my sister and I talked about what furniture was going and what furniture was going to go to the curb or on Marketplace or to consignment or to the storage unit for a family member to pick up. Then I went to the new house and labeled the rooms and talked over the setup with my sister. Everything had to have floor pads put on because we had brand new wood floors. And my sister did this as they brought each piece in. It was really very kind of them to let us do it. All in all, it went really well. The only real mishap was a small tote with a green lid that I labeled taxes. And I put it on the back screened porch, and it did not make it into my car. Someone needed the box and realized there was just a few documents in it, so they dumped the documents into another box, and it was almost April before I found them. I kept 1 miscellaneous spreadsheet on the kitchen counter for last-minute missed items, and I added it to the binder right before we left in my car and took it to the new house. What people don't know is that if a box comes up missing, the first thing a mover is going to say is, what box number was it? And they don't tell you you're supposed to number the boxes. So this is really important. Even if you are the only one moving, it can be beneficial to have a list and contents of all the important items. 2 months into the decluttering, I found an off-market property that was perfect for us. For a seller to accept a contingency on the sale of the buyer's home needs to be on the market. And this is probably the scariest part of this transaction because no one wants to put their house on the market and have it sell with nowhere left to go. But in our case, it ramped up the process and our home hit the market and sold in 1 day. It took a month to get it closed, but I negotiated 2 months of occupancy after the closing also. 1 at no cost and 1 was as a rent back. That gave me 3 months to get decluttered, packed, and moved. We sold our home on January the 14th, 2022, bought the new one in February 1st of 2022. We got new wood floors installed, all the wallpaper taken down in every single room in the house. As soon as the painters were through, we put down rugs that I had purchased so the movers could just come in, place the furniture, and put the beds together. We had the movers scheduled for March 1st, and we were out of the old house by March 7th, so we were a whole week early. If I hadn't started in November, it would not have happened. The catalyst was the right home showing up. You never know when it's going to happen, but you need to be able to move fast when it does. I was not getting anywhere looking at the traditional ways, and I do this every day, so I started to look at off-market properties. A good agent will know how to do this, and I've done it dozens of times for clients over the years. Being creative and thinking outside the box is the best way to do this. This also gives you leverage in a negotiation because the seller of our home was confident that we wanted the property and that the sale was happening. And the buyer of the home came back after the appraisal and the inspection and tried to get me to lower the price because I had a house that was under contract. When this was tried, I told the buyer's agent that the property wasn't on the market and the seller was committed to us, but it was not under contract. I told him to send me a buyer's release and I would put the property back on the market. Within a few hours, the buyer had backed down and we were moving forward again because I wasn't playing his game, and this is where the negotiation skills and experience comes in handy. So make sure that the agent you choose to work with has the skill set to find the right house for you and negotiate it properly. Finding the perfect next home may not be quick or even when you think it needs to happen, but when it's right, you'll know. Actively searching in all the places is when the magic happens. So if you found these tips helpful, be sure to check back weekly for more stress-free moving and real estate advice and videos. And don't forget to share your decluttering wins in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.